Rain is at hand, ghostly hauntings as time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadow hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. Nice and air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. All rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight on this hump day? Hopefully I sound a lot better, guys. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm not a giant snot monster like I have been. So hopefully this is the end of this horrible head cold. Of course, now everybody else in the house is getting it too. So I don't want a repeat. So I'm going to have to go ahead and sterilize everybody to to get rid of it completely. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm excited about our show tonight. We have a great guest, but first I want to say hi to everybody. Hello, Sir Friday. How are you? Wisdom, Douglas, welcome, welcome. Hey, Ryan, and Cree is here with us. Wonderful. Two Ply, how's it going? Shake the booty, sir. Kiwi, Sarah. Let's see, am I forgetting anybody? Susan, Miss Susan is with us. Lovely. I hope everybody is good. And is it warming up where you guys are? Because I don't know about you all, but we thought spring was here and Mother Nature pulled a quickie and we got snow again. I was like, give me an effing break, people. Snow? Come on. But it's spring in central New York. That's just the way it is. Let's see. Thank you, Ugly. I was like, I was trying to read really quick. We have a great guest, guys. You guys all know Stevie from Truth or Demons. Wonderful program she has. Hi, Mark. Welcome. Hopefully, you guys are all subbed to her. If not, please subscribe. Check out her programs. They are fantastic, very informative, and she is just a darling. So put your hands together, please, and welcoming Stevie from Truth or Demons. Hello, Stevie. How are you?
Hi. I'm great. How
Is
are
the
you?
leg a little bit less now? Is it better now?
A little bit less now, I think. Yeah.
Okay, good. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Mr. Joe Vitale's in the house. Hopefully my voice holds out and the
Oh, nice.
internet.
Hi,
We've been
Joe.
having issues. It's terrible. It always starts just
Yeah.
before the show too. You know, does it happen to you like that too? Just before the show's going to begin, everything hits the fan. It's like a no win-win, I guess. I don't know. Like you said earlier, gremlins. Excuse me. So, Stevie, I'm so glad you're here. I'm sure everybody is familiar with you, but if not, guys, check her out. And please remember to like and subscribe to this channel as well and leave comments,
Oh,
guys. It helps us
the
out. It's
internet's acting up.
free. It's acting up. Of course it is. So, okay, and remember, ask any questions you want as long as you stay polite and aren't rude. We won't boot you out. My mods know that I am strict about that. Hello, Mr. Pomp. How are you? So this is a safe space for everybody, including the chat and the guests, and we want to keep it that way. Miss Stevie, tell us about who you are before we get into what you do. Wow, must be a really bad lag, unless you can't hear me at all now. Hi, Sarah. I wasn't sure if I got you. Can you hear me at all, Stevie?
If you ask me something, I miss it. There is a weird lag and a weird skipping.
A weird skipping and a weird lag. I don't know what the heck let me see if I can do
Yeah,
some
I missed a
adjustments.
lot of what you said. So if there was a question in there, I missed it. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We wanted to know about
I
who
hope it's not
Stevie
my
is.
end. Oh, it muted you.
Okay. Is
I
that better?
heard you want to know about who Stevie is, and then it muted you. Yes, now I can hear you.
It's the gremlins. Oh, great. It's just with. Oh God. Hey James, let's get to catch up.
Yes. I
I
wonder if
can't,
it's my end at all, too.
I think I have a cord issue. I might have
Oh, I see. Yeah, it keeps going off and on muting.
it's starting to piss me off.
Now you're muted. Now you're not.
Okay, so is it working now?
I understand. I go through this a lot whenever I try to go live. Yes.
It's I'm
No,
telling
not
you.
now.
I'll have to keep the button there and I might have to switch back to the old.
I muted you again. Now there's no lag or anything, though.
Okay, let's see if that holds on.
Okay.
Unbelievable. Okay. Before you can't hear me
It's
again,
me. It's
tell us
totally me.
about
I
Stevie the
brought the gremlins.
person.
All right. I
So
am a huge paranormal enthusiast, as most of you know, and I am a huge animal lover, and I love doing my podcast. I love it so much. I find so much joy in the research and finding out all these pieces that make this big puzzle come together, and I think it's so fun. So,
fantastic. So, like, yeah, if anybody's seen your show, they know that what you
hopefully
do is
that
really
came
great.
through okay.
Yeah, it came through. We hear you, and I've got my fingers, toes, and eyes crossed just in case. So,
Okay.
what got you into this field? Sorry, cough's still here, guys.
Yeah, other
Yeah,
than that,
what got
I love tattoos.
yes, well, they're great, yeah. And I know you do some sewing. I've seen, where you've made your own stuff. Hey, Carla, how's it
Yes,
going?
yes. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm a
Friday is a
seamstress for
US.
a living.
Oh, see? Seems oh, good. Maybe I have some questions later. uh, yeah, that's impressive because there's not many people that do that anymore. As far as
Yeah, I hear that a lot,
sewing.
and, my job was really random, so it's not like there's a lot of work out there for seamstresses.
Well, you know what? Around here, we'll look. I mean, I sew, but it's just standard stuff. I mean, if I really wanted to make, because I used to make pajama pants for everybody in the family at Christmas, stuff like simple stuff. Anything that is like major, yeah,
Yeah.
it would take me a little while. I could probably get away with it, but it would take me a long time. But as far as like, if you're looking for like big alterations, it's really hard to find somebody to do
Yeah, it is pretty time consuming.
that. Like I have like a couple of coats that are really expensive, and
Yeah, and it's
from
really
losing
expensive, I've heard.
weight,
I don't normally do
it is.
alterations for wedding dresses. Yeah. And I recently started doing, like, creative alterations where the dress has to be changed completely instead of just resized or something, and so that makes it more fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely, but a bigger challenge, and if you don't know what you're doing, forget it. Yeah, I have, like, a couple of old coats that are really great shape, but I don't have anybody that could, make them smaller because 'cause they're too big now, and it's so they just hang and collect dust. And I'm not gonna attempt it myself because I don't wanna screw it up and then have to throw them out. So they'll
Yeah,
just stay where
resizing
they
is so
are.
hard.
Yeah, it is. I've tried it a couple times, and I usually get the
Yeah,
arms
I
messed up.
understand that.
Yeah, and it's the arms are too tight, and so, yeah, so I'm not gonna even attempt it. So, yeah, but so far we're good, everything's holding out. What made you get into the paranormal? Did you have your own paranormal
I understand.
experience, or was it just something you were attracted to?
I have had my own experiences. What got me into it though was movies. When I was really young, probably too young to see the movies, I saw. I tell people this all the time. The movie that did it for me, that got me hooked, was The Entity, and the whole presentation of it being based on a true story just sucked me in. At 8 years old, I was 100% convinced it was real and that that could happen to me, and I was terrified of it. And then it just made
Wow.
me my curiosity grow, and I had several experiences from age 13 and up. My mom said I had experiences younger than I can remember because she said we lived in a haunted house when I was 4, and I don't remember any of that, but
I think we have gremlins on both sides of the fence here because now she's freezing up on us.
it cut out and now it's back. Hopefully I didn't miss.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think we got stuff on both ends going on. Quick, somebody do a blessing so it clears it all up.
I think so. I think so.
uh, we do have a question. Our first question from Kiwi says, "How long have you been doing podcasts?"
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry if you
It's okay.
it keeps
Kiwi wants
cutting
to
in
know
and out.
how long have you been doing podcasts?
Oh, yeah. I started my podcast as just a podcast, in 2021, and I did a few episodes, hated it because I didn't know how to edit, and the way I was recording, it was really bad, really bad quality, and I wanted to get better at that, so I pulled it all down, renamed it, redid it, learned how to edit, and put it back up in 2022.
Fantastic. Kiwi said to tell you to stop. Keep your gremlins on your side. I think we have 'em going on both sides tonight. Okay, so that's what you started with
I
was
think so
just
too. My internet is definitely not cooperating.
yeah, it's not cooperating tonight. And I've got everything else shut off too, so it's just the internet. Um,
Me
have you
too.
ever done any of your have you ever done any of your own investigations?
Yes, I have. I started when I was about 16 or so with my mom. She was into it, and we
Oh,
would hear of local stuff and we would go explore. A big one that we used to do was there's an old story in a place called Chapel Hill, Tennessee, of a light that comes up and down the railroad tracks. And it's supposed to be like an old worker that died on the tracks, and he's supposed to be able to be seen carrying his lantern. And we used to go there every weekend and try and see this. We never did see the light, but my mom swears up and down she saw a little boy in like time period clothing run across the street in front of her headlights one night.
oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I love to
Excuse me.
investigate. I've done some recently too. I did the night house last year.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So you're keeping active as far as investigations go.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I do it for fun more so than like anything else. I really get into it, and all my logic goes out the window completely.
So well, you get sucked in. Friday wants to know what road was that again?
Chapel Hill, it's a place in Tennessee, and I don't know the road, but there's train tracks that run through the town, and it's pretty much any spot on the train tracks in Chapel Hill, yeah.
Okay. Cree wants to know, have you ever done any deep dives that turned out to be true?
Unfortunately, no, not completely. Some aspects will be true, but usually not the parts we want to be true. And it's not so much that they're not true, but that there's no evidence to prove it. The evidence to prove pretty much anything is always lacking. So that's always disappointing. But a lot of the cases, there's also nothing to prove that it was something normal. So there's that.
Right, right. Hi, Douglas. Welcome.
Like, the Lindley Street
Um,
case was one where they called it a hoax to stop the craziness, but they never did have an explanation that the family was accepting of. They kinda just let it go.
I see. I see. What is your process when you start doing your investigations on these stories?
I read and listen to everything I can find. All the YouTube videos of people covering it, all the books. If there's a book on it, I'll find them on Audible. Hopefully, it's on Audible. If it's not, I'll usually order the copy and then take pictures of it with my Speechify app so I can listen to it. And I cover everything I can find, and then I go back and listen to them again and take notes. And anything that stands out to me, anything I hear from one source from another that might differ, I'll write that down, and then I'll try and find comparisons to see which side said what more, which side has more proof of what was said, stuff like that. A lot of the time, the research is just a whole bunch of listening and reading to other people's content to see if there's anything missing that I need to find, or if there's anything that makes sense that, corroborates each other, stuff like that. It's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I believe it is. Just like, when I do stuff for a magazine and stuff like that, it's a lot of reading and looking into stuff. Um, how long does that process usually take you for one story?
It depends on the story. The first couple ones I did were fairly easy. Things were pretty concise. And then it seems like the deeper I get into stories and also, so I started back as far back as I could, as far as the cases of Ed and Lorraine go. And I'm working my way forward. And as I get further into the future, these people are still around, and I can reach out to them. I can sometimes talk to them, and a lot of the time they're still active in the paranormal community, and stuff they're doing I am getting in like real time. Like with the Arnie Cheyenne Johnson case, there was a Netflix documentary that came out in the middle of my research that dumped a whole bunch of new information into my lap and sent me down 100 new paths. And so it just depends on the story and what all information is currently available and still coming available. So if it's still active and people are still doing things, it takes 2 years sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Wow.
hopefully I'm going to get better at getting them out quicker and getting more the information put together more concisely. It's just there's so much, and every time I put an episode out, more stuff comes and I have to make like part 2s and stuff. So it's kind of never ending.
Right. Right. Well, especially when it is with the Warrens, because that's still an active group. But what are actually your true feelings on the Warrens and the Warren Foundation? Do you ever think that they were legit, or did they start out that way and then, the Hollywood dollar took over?
I really go back and forth with that. Yeah, I have when I started the podcast, my mindset was I knew that a lot of the stuff, like for instance, the first movie was really what kind of propelled me into making the podcast. And I knew that the story of Bathsheba was false, and I wanted to know why, first of all, they made that story up, and second of all, what the real story was. And so going into it, my mindset of the Warrens was they may have been really into exaggerating and being a little overzealous in their storytelling. So that was my first initial feeling. And then I started interviewing people, and I started going back and forth with really not liking them based on things they had done and said, and really like kind of having a soft spot for them based on interactions they had with some of the people I interviewed. So it's gone back and forth a lot. But as far as their stories and cases go, I am to the point now with all the reading and all the research and everything that I just don't believe them. I think Ed was a charlatan. I think he was really good at talking, and people he was the kind of person people just believed when he spoke. They didn't have a need to question him or want to question him. There was very few people that wanted to question him. And anytime there was, like Joe Nickel, he would get in their face and yell at them. So it was, I just think based on his behavior, based on everything I've seen, Ed was definitely kind of a grifter, like people say. He kind of took advantage of situations to see if he could make money off them. That's been proven. And then Lorraine, I go back and forth with her too, because I've heard she's really sweet. I've heard she was kind of taken advantage of and kind of like pushed around by Ed. And then I've heard the exact opposite. I've heard she was like running everything. She was the really mean one. One person said in an interview that she, when asked about God, she said money was her God. So it's
Oh,
really
wow.
confusing.
Yeah, wow. Hey, Jeff, how's it going? Um, it is because I've heard so many stories. I mean, if you really think about it, they were kind of like the godmother and father of the paranormal, because they really brought it into the limelight. Um, and that's why I always wonder if they started off with true intentions, but when the money started rolling in, that's when things just didn't go for the better. He saw an opportunity and he took it.
Mhm.
Let me see here.
Yeah, I think that, and I wonder that too. I've heard of him being genuine with some people and that he genuinely wanted to help. And then I've been reading old newspapers and articles written about him and what he was doing. And it feels like he got into this based on simply being curious and then saw the inner workings of it and started to understand how he could use this to his advantage.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Because I've heard stories where they did help a lot of people, but we didn't hear about those stories. We only hear about the Hollywood hype and those
Right.
kinds of
My
stories.
opinion on that is, yeah, yeah, and I always thought that was because there was no money to be made off the lesser stories, the actually true ones. There was no way to make them exaggerated.
Exactly. So yeah, and I mean, who could blame them to be honest? I mean, everybody wants to make a living, and if that was their opportunity, they went with it. Let's see. Douglas said it is
Yeah.
so odd going forward.
Yep.
Jason Hawes publicly didn't accept the Warrens, and then he used them. He used him as a talking head on the Warrens' shock doc. Well, everybody's got a different opinion when it comes to that couple. Some people just love them and believe everything that they've ever
Mhm.
said, and then you've got the other half that thinks, well, no, they're full of shit and they were taking an advantage. Uh,
Mhm.
like you said, you're on the fence.
Yeah.
I think it's in the middle. I think they honestly did start out
I do too.
wanting to help, and yeah, then the money just, money does evil things to people. Dan Horan being
It
on the.
does. And people can be two things at once. They can be really great and awful and really awful all at the same time.
Oh, sure, sure. I guess it all depends on how much you're getting paid. I'm trying to see if
And
we're
it's also a
our
matter of
guys.
perception, like who is
Yeah,
perceiving their intentions and actions.
right. Like another thing. What are your thoughts on the doll? The things being haunted or having attachments. Do you believe in any of that?
I struggle with that because I want to. I want to believe that those stories could be true, because I love the stories. I think all haunted object stories are so fun, so scary. If that stuff like that really happens, that's terrifying. I think dolls in general are terrifying, but I 100% do not believe in the story of Annabelle. Um, I actually have recently decided that I don't know if it was completely Ed's idea. Um, when I discovered that there was actual people that were involved in the story that did own the Raggedy Ann doll through the newspaper article I found. I actually found one of them and indirectly spoke with her through someone else. And she said Hollywood messed up the story. And I'm starting to wonder if Ed worked with them, the nurses, because they did exist, which kind of blew my mind because I was on the and kind of in the mindset that they didn't even exist, that the whole thing was made up by Ed, that he got the idea from that Twilight Zone episode, and it just made sense. And then this woman is real and still around and admits it was her doll and says that Hollywood screwed up the story and it's not at all like that. And so I'm just wondering if something happened to the nurses, either they got an idea to fake it or something really did happen to them that was kind of spooky and unnerving, and they called the Warrens, and then it became what it is, how we know it today. So that one
Right.
kind of actually bothers me after indirectly speaking to the original owner. So it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure. Hey, Carla. Um, because my point is, okay, if it's possessed by a demon or a bad spirit, and they have this, it's in a box, and it's just a regular wooden and glass case. What prevents that energy coming through
Yeah,
there and attaching itself to something else? I mean, it's not like it's a lead lined case.
exactly.
So I mean,
Yeah,
if it's
what
energy, you know,
exactly.
so yeah, that's the
And
problem I've got with it.
I
That's why
struggle with the idea of this all-powerful demon that can kill people, can't escape this box.
exactly. There you go. Come on. But people do believe it. Let's see. Douglas says, "Oh, the Annabelle stuff
Yeah,
has been expanded so much, for sure. The entire spinoff movie series was pretty much made from whole cloth." All right. So yeah, it is. It's all just a I think a made up story because never nothing. If you were an evil spirit or any kind of spirit, wouldn't you rather be attached to somebody that's moving around instead of hanging out in a dusty old museum in a glass case? I mean, that's just think about
yeah.
it.
And I'm also weirded out by the fact that they say in the story that the nurses had the apartment. Some stories, not all stories. Some stories say the nurses had the apartment exorcised. So if we're exorcising the apartment, why aren't we exorcising the doll? Why do we want to keep the demon? Do we don't why don't
Exactly.
just get rid of it altogether?
Exactly. So there's just so many red flags. And then now to the day, from what I've heard,
Agreed.
they don't even have nobody has access to this museum anymore, unless it's by special, permission,
So about
apparently.
that, yes. So I've recently heard that someone thought it was in it like the museum was its own like building. It is not. It is in the Warrens' house, their former home, and Tony was running parking in the neighborhood to like blocking driveways and stuff just to go to the museum. So Tony got cited, and they were finding him some money every week until he shut down because he didn't have the proper zoning for commercial use for all those cars to be parking there. So that's why it shut down. He
Right.
is doing the whole haunted items road tour, and that's how they make their money now is they take everything on tour. So that also bothers me in all the ways.
Wow. Yeah. So it's just way too many red flags. And then when you do question them about it, they get very defensive. You have many people who would, stand by them no matter what
Yes,
is said. And it's a shame because I'm sure they were very nice people. It's just that I think they took advantage of a good situation. And that was the dawn of the paranormal on, television and in movies. And so they ran with it. Um, do you believe that Lorraine
I
had
agree.
special
And it
gifts?
was it was booming at the time, like because you had The Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, I struggle with that. I really do, because I believe in really strong intuition. I'm not sure. I'm still very much on the fence about psychics. I believe people have gifts, and I believe we don't understand them. But I do not believe that anyone who charges exorbitant amounts of money to see for you or to give you a reading or to talk to your deceased loved ones, I don't believe in that. But when it comes to Lorraine, I almost wanna believe she had a really strong intuition. Um, it's very possible to me, based on some of the stories, that she could have just had good gut feelings, because I don't think that she could. And this is based on the newspaper articles that I read. I don't believe that she was a light transmedium by like naturally. They learned that from other people in to portray that she could do that, but I don't doubt that maybe she had some sort of strong intuition, because she did involve herself a lot in it. And I believe that if you practice such things, if you have any kind of inclination to have those abilities, if you practice them, you can make them stronger. So her being in it so much, maybe she did get a little better at her intuition. I just don't think she was psychic as people see her.
Right. Right. Oh, hi, Purple. Welcome. Yes, I believe that too. That people some people are more sensitive to other things than most. And so she might have been very, sensitive, empathic towards the situations that they were in. So yeah, and like you said, if you hone that skill, it'll be easier for you to pick up on things.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
Did
but
you know that Ed also claimed to be psychic?
yes, I did hear that, but I never looked into it. I think Ed was a character, and that's just being nice.
Yeah,
Um,
I do. I
because
do too.
he was very yes, he was very dominant. I did notice in a lot of like interviews or shows that they were in. It's just he took the center stage. Um, and I think it would be great if there was ways to debunk what they did. But back
Mhm.
then, stuff was hidden. Uh, it was very difficult. Even if you look at the old reels and stuff or old shows, it's really hard to pick up on that stuff. Hi, Cynthia. Have you ever tried to
Yeah.
do that, looking at old footage?
I kind of have. So I there's a lot of stuff that I have coming. When I do an episode, I try really hard to just focus on that case, because I've noticed with my attention span, if I start looking into other stuff on the side, I get them confused. And especially when I go on other shows and talk about them and I don't have a script in front of me and I'm trying to remember who did what when, since I've already deep dived, and I have seen some footage of some things that is like on YouTube and stuff. There's one video of Ed doing the table rocking, that old thing where they used to make the table
Right,
rock and they called that spirit activity. There is a video out there where Ed does that, and it's the cameras just focus on the table, and you can see the tops of a couple of chairs. And I think one of the chairs pulls out, which obviously could easily be anybody pulling it because it's not fully in frame, so you can't see the bottom of it. But then the
right,
table starts to rock, and I believe somebody debunked that. I don't remember who it was, but I think they ran it through and like pointed out where it could be debunked. And I just think that's interesting because there's so little out of the Warrens' so-called evidence, and the stuff that is out is kind of ridiculous and easily debunked. Like the white lady video where he's said to have caught the white lady in Union Cemetery. Not only is
right.
it easily debunkable, but we had Judith Penny say she was the white lady in that video. So
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? But see, that's the thing. Now people are coming forward because the Warrens aren't here to debate with any of it. So, yeah, you can get away with telling the truth now. Let's see. Douglas says, I feel
mhm,
that Ed and Lorraine started off trying to investigate and collect stories, and then he merged in things from The Exorcist to The Twilight Zone, and Ed talked a big game. Yeah, Stevie said that he was a big talker, so
I
he
agree with
knew how
that.
to run it. Yeah, he knew how to run it. So it's
Yeah, he had that public speaker charisma.
right. And yeah, it's just that's what I'm saying. And Lorraine was always in the background. And she was kind of like, just nodding her head, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
or
she was in the beginning too. Mhm. In the beginning, a lot of the time she wasn't present. So I found I started back in the '60s. late 60s were the first time I could find articles written about them, and it was just about Ed in the beginning. He was going to seances, he was investigating haunted houses, and it was just him. He was pairing with other psychics or other people, and it was Lorraine wasn't mentioned until a couple years later.
Right. James says her body language was very nervous around Ed. That's what makes me think, was Ed abusive towards her? I'm not saying she is. I'm just asking, does anybody else pick up on that? Was he ever, maybe overly aggressive with her or just,
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've had a
yeah.
lot of people point out his behavior on videos with her where he yells over her, he talks over her, he swings his arms in front of her. It's almost like she's not even there to him sometimes. And then I have heard hearsay, 100% hearsay, this is not fact, but I have heard he was abusive towards her.
Okay. So say, yeah, and like she said, it's hearsay, guys, not fact. So I don't want somebody coming here picking apart the video saying, well, Stevie said this. No, that's not what happened. So let's just keep
Yeah.
that straight.
I try to
Excuse
always make
me.
sure when it's not a fact, I say either it's my opinion or it's something I heard through some sort of grapevine.
Right. There you go. Yeah, you're not going to claim 100% proof unless you've got it, correct?
Right. I love receipts.
There you go. Well, nowadays you got to have them because the way the story changes from one person to the next, it's
You really
insane,
do.
especially for YouTube. The
Mhm.
trouble that
Even
goes
Ed
through on
tells his own
YouTube.
stories multiple different ways. Mhm.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yes, yes, so much
yeah,
so much
somebody,
misinformation.
um, yeah, somebody said on here earlier, yeah, that Ed would say something, but his story never, it was always different. So how are you supposed to believe anything he said? But then that's another thing. A lot of people don't pick up on that. Oh, well, no, he didn't say that. And then, well, somebody else will, well,
Yes.
yes, he did. So see, those are things we got to
And
pay
then you
attention
have
to.
and Dan decided yeah, yeah. And Dan decided he was going to start telling the world that he witnessed the motorcycle accident that happened. No, it didn't happen though.
Jeez, see that? Now here, Akibi wants to know, I wonder what happened to all the evidence the Warrens had.
I am pretty sure they still have it. I have seen so there was an interview somebody did with Tony and Lorraine and one of the people that investigated with them. I'm blanking on who it was. It might have been no, I can't remember. There's so many names. I get them all confused. But there's this video out there that someone filmed, and there are binders, like 3-inch, 3-ring binders full of photos, and they're flipping through them, but they never show them. They just point at them and say, "Oh, remember this? This was at Infield. Oh, remember this? This was, whatever, whatever." There's so many photos in this binder, and I personally think that they do have a lot of photos. I just don't think any of them show a single thing that could be considered proof or evidence. I think they took pictures of everything. There is evidence of like other families saying they told us to document. We have pictures galore. So I know pictures were taken and I know recordings were made. I just don't think they have anything worth sharing, and that's why they don't share. And also, when they were doing their lectures, they saved all that stuff for lectures and never showed anyone outside of lectures because it was kind of their money maker. So I think it's interesting that the only
Okay.
people who have ever seen it are people who attended lectures, and they only saw it on a slide. They didn't get to get up close and personal with it.
Right, right. Um, and Douglas says, they say they did thousands of cases, and that feels like they were just padding the numbers. Yeah, I don't know, to be
Oh yeah, the
honest.
numbers. That's so funny. Reading the newspaper articles, they say they add a couple years every year to how long they've been investigating. So when they started, it was the first year it was 20 years, the second year it was 23 years, the third year it was 25 years, and the
Yes,
numbers
I
just
did
kept
notice that.
doubling or growing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
thought that was
did
funny.
notice that. Yeah. Um, Wisdom wanted to know, was that the accident that happened on a street that wasn't even developed yet?
Yes. So Dan Rivera of Nesper, the current lead investigator, he has been telling people for the past 3 years that when he was 8 years old, he was in the car with his dad delivering stuff for the bakeries. Which, if that were true, it would have been very early in the morning because that's how those deliveries work. But he said it was afternoon, and that they saw a motorcycle go speeding past them with a guy and a girl on it. And then the dad said those people are going to wreck because they apparently passed them going super fast. And then they come around the corner, and sure enough, there they are. They had wrecked. And Dan says he sees the woman sitting on the side of the road holding her head, and she was bleeding. And then he says, and then years later, he met Lorraine and realized that they had this connection because he witnessed the accident that Annabelle caused. And he tells everybody this. He's been on all kinds of shows telling the story. And so I had people reach out to me and be like, you got to debunk this because this is nuts. He's giving like exact roads, years, dates, everything. And now he's telling the story, adding the detail of he said, we were on our way to the Monroe Diner. And that diner didn't open until 2012. But the
Oh,
road
geez.
that he claims this happened on was Route 25 as it was heading towards Bridgeport. But that road was actually connected to another town at the time, and they were building the road connecting to the one towards Bridgeport when that supposedly happened. So that road wasn't even built yet and open to the public. It wasn't until a year and a half, 2 years later.
Wow.
And Dan just
Wow.
insisted
See?
on these dates.
Okay. See, and that's the thing. You have proof because you look it up. You could find out exactly when the road was, open to the public. So apparently he doesn't comprehend that kind of information. I don't get it. I don't know. And you know what? These are the kind of people that you could tell stories about for years and years because there's always something new that's going to pop up. Um, I mean, have you discovered that no matter how many years you've been doing
Yes.
stories and deep dives on the Warrens, you're finding out more as you go along?
Yes, definitely. I put out that I did one of my earlier episodes was on the farm with the Conjuring House, the Arnold Richardson farm. And after I put that episode out, I also interviewed Andrea. And then I had all this information coming in, and then all the drama that happened with the Conjuring House. And then a historian reached out to me and helped me with some of the information about the history of the farm. So that was really cool. And I interviewed her, and I'm working on an episode with her to do release some more information that clarifies things, because I feel like when I tell the story that I know, that I've researched, that I've got all the information for, and I put it out, and then someone will come at me and be like, "Oh, did you hear about this?" Or, "Oh, did you know this?" Or, "Oh, I just heard this." And it's like, it just is this constant turning wheel of information, and every other day it's something new, I swear. I feel like every other day someone is hitting me up saying they talked to somebody or they come across this or have you seen this? And I love that. I love when people do that. I love getting, like, if I do something, like if I say something and it's wrong and people tell me, "Hey, that's not right. This is how it really was." I love going back and correcting it because other people don't do that. I watch tons
Right.
of content creators, and they'll tell the story and they'll get a detail wrong. Sometimes a really important detail, and they'll never correct it. They don't care. And that drives me insane. I care a lot. I want to make sure it's correct. So if somebody does find something that contradicts what I say, even if there's not like heavy evidence to prove the contradiction, the fact that there is a contradiction, I want to report on, because someone else might have heard it too and they might be confused. So to have everything laid out so everyone understands that, yeah, it's a lie and it is confusing, they don't feel so confused when they do find more.
Right, right. Well, and it also screws up, information. It would be like, somebody's writing down stuff to catalog of family history, family tree or whatever. And if one person puts in one piece of information that's incorrect, and it's going to go from that incorrect information on up. So you're not getting the true story, the true
Yep.
background. So it would be the same as far as any
Right. It's
paranormal
like the
case.
telephone game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. James wants to know, did you see what Ray, I'm probably saying this wrong, Garton said about them? Is that how you say the guy's name?
Yes, Ray Garton.
Ah,
Yes, Ray Garton. He was the author of In a Dark Place, which is the story about the Snedeker family, the little boy with cancer, and they move into a former funeral home, claim they didn't know it was a funeral home, and then all this haunting stuff happened. And then apparently some ghost essay and some sodomization happened that they talk about on the Sally Jesse Raphael show. But so Ray
nice.
Garton was hired by the Warrens to write this book for them. And Ray came to Ed and told Ed, I can't write this. I'm trying to get everyone's stories, but no one's stories are matching. It doesn't make sense. It's all over the place. I can't write this story. And Ed Warren's response to that was, you're a writer. Most of the people we deal with are crazy. Just make it up and make it scary. And I did talk to Ray before he passed. He passed last year or the year before, but I got to speak to him before that. And he told me that that was true. He did say that. And then I asked him, if you could sum up the Warrens in one word, what would it be? And he said fraud.
Wow. Doesn't that blow your socks off, guys? Wow. And what would that guy have to gain by saying that? So, wow. That's pretty
Exactly.
amazing.
And a lot of people didn't believe him, unfortunately.
Well, no, because they've got, years of history of the Warrens and people trusted them. Just like they trust,
Hmm.
all of us here on
Yep.
YouTube, you get your following and then when somebody, does something that is wrong or false, I mean that it's a hard blow for your followers to take. Because I know I would be totally upset if,
Hmm.
I, was, there's a lot of people I follow here on YouTube and I trust what they're telling me and what they're saying. And if I found out that they were fraudulent, then yeah, that would be very upsetting.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Douglas says puts it into perspective where they're like the godparents of modern paranormal investigation. Yeah, it does because I mean it's hard. This field is hard enough as it is. And when people do what they do and others do, it makes it harder for those of us who are actually out there looking for the truth. I mean, not for nothing. How many hours have you spent you doing study and research and investigating, and you can come up with nothing? And it's a lot of time that's wasted and done, and you come up with nothing. We all go through that, but that's part of what this field is, and you have to accept that part. And a
Mhm.
lot of people say, "Well, screw this. I'm just gonna make it up, so I've got something."
No, definitely, yeah, and I think another big factor in that is the money. Some of these YouTubers have gotten so big, and the viewers have gotten used to their style, and so faking it is making it. So
That's what yeah, you said it right, exactly right. Because we could all do the same thing, But, I don't wanna grow that way. I wanna be, I'm here to find out, learn, and to
same, same.
teach and to inform, and it's yeah, that's the way we wanna go with this. It's too how can you be proud? Well, I don't know.
Agreed.
Me personally, I cannot be proud about shoveling out a bunch of shit to everybody and it got a big smile on my face saying, "Oh, look what I did." I don't know.
Right.
To each his own, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff's got a
Yeah, and that's
question,
why a lot of the time I don't put episodes out for months because I don't want to put them out prematurely.
right? Exactly. You want to have everything where it's supposed to be. Let's see. Jeff wants to know if there was a Mount Rushmore for the paranormal, would the Warrens be on it? And who else should be? Good question, Jeff.
I absolutely think they would be on it, for sure. I think Hans Holzer would be on it. Um, maybe the Fox sisters?
Unbelievable. That's actually that's really a good question. I have no idea actually who would you put up there. But that's a good one. Let's see. Yeah, Kiwi, fake it until you make it. Yeah, that's what they do. And the drama in this field has just gone out of control. And it's just, I don't know, it
It
doesn't
really
seem like it's
has,
ever
yeah.
going to end. And I know that you have dealt with a lot of it. What are your opinions about the drama in the paranormal?
I think that the more people like me push back against the lying and the faking and the trying to scam people, I think the more drama there will be because the people that are doing that, every time someone like me pushes back or exposes, they just buckle down and push back harder. So I think the drama is a result of that. And I think the more we try to expose, correct, and inform, the more drama we're going to be faced with. And I've been told since I started that if I'm pissing somebody off, I'm doing something right. So
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Uh, what is the worst group that you've had to deal with as far as drama goes?
I'm sorry I missed some of that. It cut out.
Okay, which group, in your opinion, that you've had to deal with is the worst as far as the drama goes?
That's a good question. I would say, hmm, probably Nesper and anyone who deals with them because I've noticed there are multiple groups, multiple ghost hunting groups that work with them and then want to back them and support them 100%. And then they in turn kind of fight the battles for them. So I'm noticing that there are seem to be connections back to Nesper with each group that is stirring and starting drama. Even if the drama isn't related to Nesper, it always seems like these people seem to be connected to them somehow.
Right. Well, they're probably the go-to, if you want to hide something, then you're going to go to the people that know how to do it well, apparently. And they're going to have each other's backs. So, Friday says the drama is for clicks. You're right,
Yeah,
Friday.
for sure.
Only the people with something to hide lash out with drama rather than honesty. And Friday says, glad that you are honest, Stevie. Yes, we appreciate that she's honest. That's what's great about the show because you're gonna get the real deal, even
I
though a lot
agree.
of
And
people
thank
don't
you so
think,
much.
because you've had your own share of drama.
I've also noticed
As
that when the drama starts, there seems to be a lot of insult slinging.
oh yeah, yeah, and it's mostly from the followers. I get it. It's your favorites are being
Yes.
attacked, so you're going to defend. But some people just go right for the juggler. It just blows my mind
Oh, yeah.
on how just yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Now you've had to deal with a lot of this yourself as far as drama goes because people have come after you.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a scary thing. It really is. As far as the
Mhm.
Conjuring house, we're gonna switch to that one now. What are your thoughts on the Conjuring
Okay.
house? Do you believe that it's haunted?
I do not. Um, I believe that maybe once upon a time it could have had a little bit of activity that was a little out of the ordinary, but I do not believe for 1 second that there was demons or anything nefarious or anything that harmed anyone. I think a lot of that was just stories made up. I believe that maybe it's possible something could have been going on that just kind of got blown out of proportion because what I've heard is the parent and children were kind of a little bit of outcasts, and when it got spread around that they were talking about ghosts, they kind of got made fun of for it. So I'm wondering if there was something kind of happening to them that was, just your average story of haunting activity, and it just grew into this thing over time based on everything, all of the involvements, the people, teasing, the people who came to see for themselves because there's stories of, random people just showing up trying to see something. So I did visit the Conjuring house. I paid for the daytime tour because it was so expensive to
Yeah, it's
do anything
outrageous.
else. And the house is stories of like this door that supposedly unlatches and opens on its own. And every time they get it on video, it's when people are walking in and they're walking on these old creaky floorboards. And every time the door opens, and it's clearly when the shift in the floor happens from people standing on it, it makes the door open. So
There you go.
I think maybe at one point there could have been something going on that was kind of spooky, kind of little unnerving, but I don't believe for a second it was anything that it's been made out to be today. Because also, Andrea claims now that looking back, her first day on the farm, she looked up and saw a fleet of UFOs in the air, and it was all aliens the whole time.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. We don't worry about that one. Hey, Fear the Living, welcome. Douglas says, I don't think that there were ever soldiers buried in the walls, like Andrea has said. The walls that are like 3 inches thick.
I do have an answer to that. I think I have an answer to that. So when I did the tour, they talked about that, and they did point out that the walls were clearly too thin to have anything inside of them. But the tour guide said that they found anomalies in the ground by a stone wall on the property. And they think that, so the tour tells you that that could be what they were talking about. But according to Jamie Rubio, the historian that has done so much research on the history of this place, which is so cool, she has blogs about it. Jamie Rubio, if you guys want to look her up, she is amazing. She does the the Arnold Richardson Farm blog, and she discovered that the family that lived there before actually buried pets, and cavities in the ground were buried things, just not humans.
That's what I was always wondering because I never believed that the building itself was haunted, but I was thinking that maybe it was the grounds itself. So, I mean, if you said they've got pets and other stuff there, who knows what else is in that ground?
Right, right.
Let's see. All right. Yeah. Douglas says, yeah, that would be more plausible if there were really graves out there. So I'm sure that the place has a lot of history, but as far as what they claimed went on in that home, I don't believe it, to be honest. Um, I think it was just another story made up for
Same.
Hollywood. Because I've seen some videos where,
I
and I
agree.
forgot who it was. One of our debunkers put videos out about where it shows the kids being thrown off the bed when clearly you could see that that girl was jumping
Oh,
off the
yeah.
bed. So I mean, come on, we've all jumped on and off our beds, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
clear. That was clearly. Go ahead.
no, yeah, that was infield.
So yeah, I just and now that we know it's nowadays we know how to pick up on this kind of stuff. Back then, you're thinking, oh God, wow, wow, nobody questioned it. But I think now, yeah, and the price, of
Yeah,
course, they're not.
definitely.
She's not. It's not.
And
Oh,
it was so
oh,
shocking back then.
internet's blanking out, guys. Sorry, sorry. Um, yeah. Now, I mean, she's still. Internet gremlins, guys. Hopefully, everybody can still see and hear us.
Oh, I'm so sorry you cut out. We were doing so good and now it's skipping.
Hopefully, it clears up. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here.
Oh, I can hear you again, I think. Oh, it's just me now. Hi, everyone. If you can hear me, I'm not sure if you can. I see the comments over here. We lost our lovely host. I don't know if I'm the only one here or I wonder if, yeah, I am the only one here. Her internet gremlins, leave her alone and she can come back. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the chat. I can talk to you guys and wait for Laura to come back. There's so much going on in the chat. You guys are awesome. She will return. She may have had to restart. Oh, thank you for. I appreciate that. I think I'm at the bottom of the chat now, so. Dang, it's off. If anybody has any questions while we wait for Laura to come back, I'd be happy to answer them. Douglas said, so the infield case, that's what Watch was based on, wasn't it? I'm actually not sure about that. I have not seen Ghost Watch. The infield one in England, where Will, the ghost of Bill Wilkins, that's what it was, talked through the little girl Janet. Patience will win the day. Is that my own artwork behind me? Horror of horror. This guy right here, this is my Great Dane Anubis. I had him realized this way. I thought Laura was about to pop back in. So yeah, the bones on the wall are my Great Dane Anubis. And my friend Haley did the piece for me. She's from HD Dark Oddities, and she put it together for me. Matt Damon. Stevie, have you done much research into English paranormal stuff like the infield poltergeist, etc.? I did do an episode on infield, just on infield. Looked into much more over there. I would like to. It's just the Warrens weren't really involved in much, so I haven't made it. Once I get done with the Warrens, I want to branch out to other stuff for sure. Ghost Watch is on Shudder right now. Oh, I'm gonna have to go watch it. That'd be awesome, Douglas.
All right, I know you guys. Everything just went crazy. I'm back. Everything just went bananas here, and I'm swearing up a storm. I'm glad I didn't lose you and lose everybody else.
No worries. I understand. Hey. I answered some questions while you were away.
Fantastic. All right. I don't know if you got this one. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. What a hot mess. What was the last question that you answered?
The last one I answered was from Most Random Curiosities. And then Journey Big Dive is the next question. And that one is the Smurl case.
All right, you go ahead. You answer.
And thank you, Horror, for I appreciate that. I love that. We talked about my bones behind me a little bit.
Yeah, I find that interesting too. So let's see. All right, did you get this question? How does it feel to have a better presentation than Netflix?
Fear the Living was the next question.
Oh, okay.
Which was
Fear
more
flattery
than a question, which I really appreciate.
What a hot mess, guys.
How does it feel to have a better presentation than Netflix? He's referring to that's Chris from Fear the Living Pod, which is I'm a co-host on. I love that. We have so much fun over there. But I did the Arnie Cheyenne Johnson case, The Devil Made Me Do It one, and I had Carl Glatzel on, and I had Arnie Cheyenne Johnson's son Jeremy on to talk about what it's like having Arnie Cheyenne Johnson as a father. So that was really interesting. And I apparently let Carl tell way more than Netflix let him to tell. So that was really fun.
Right. Well, yeah, because we actually have, I think, a little bit of a wider range as far as like any streaming, television network or whatever. They always have a little bit more stricter rules. So I think you get a little bit more information.
Yep.
which is fantastic. Anybody got
Mhm.
any other questions?
Yeah,
Just
it's nice
shoot them
having the
out there.
freedom on my show and on our shows, like, to
Yeah, to actually just, tell it like it is and say what you want and not get, well, I don't know, not get in trouble for it is how you have to look at it. I try not to get in trouble, put it that way.
ulterior
So
motive.
far so good. All right. Excuse me. What is the next project that you are working on? I don't know. Did you hear that? Boy, this is really
Thank you,
getting on my
James.
nerves. So I don't know. Can you hear me? Or yes, no, maybe so?
I can hear you now. Yes. Now I
Okay.
can.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, what the hell is the problem here? I gotta figure this out. It's driving me nuts. What is the next project that you are working on?
The Smurl case is the next in line as far as timelines go. I am recently discovering, though, that there are other cases, smaller cases that aren't as mainstream, I guess, and not as well known. And I've had someone in my Instagram inbox sharing stuff with me, and I really appreciate that. So I'll probably have some little mini deep dives on those smaller cases come out before the Smurl one, because of course, when I do my big major cases, I deep dive for so long and spend so much time writing it and trying to contact people. I haven't even looked into contacting people from that case yet. So I don't know yet if there's anyone. So hopefully I can get some cool people to interview that may have been there or have some direct connections. I think that would be really cool. That's usually what I like to do if I can. I really like to get stories from the horse's mouth.
Right, exactly. So at least you know what's going on, or at least you could at least get some kind of truth out of what you're doing. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Purple. Yeah, I know. I have no idea what's
Yeah,
going
and it
on
helps
tonight.
put some stuff into perspective, even if your guests aren't telling the truth. It like hearing them tell it, get to like hear their tone and stuff.
Right. Oh, even their mannerisms. If you could do like a one-on-one, like a face-to-face, then at least you could see by the way that they're presenting themselves whether they're handing you a line or not. So
Yes.
it's great. All right, let's see. What is this? A ghost is in either location here, playing online video games and taking. Yeah, I know. I don't know what the hell. I've never had this problem, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I have everything else off right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on either, so I don't get it. I know it was a little funky earlier, actually on my phone, but this is just crazy. And I don't think we have
We
any.
have
We
more
haven't.
storms
We haven't.
coming in. That could be part of it.
Yeah, they could be it. I mean, right now it's clear here, so I don't know. It's just the internet gremlins ticking me off. All right, let's see. Douglas says, "What about
Yep.
the whole Lindsay Street case? It's been wild with Joe trying to insert himself into the case."
Yes. Yes, Joe. That has been an ongoing battle. It started in, I think, May of last year, and they had this man on, and this man was claiming to have been present for the famous Lindley Street haunting, which was the Gooden family with their adopted daughter Marcia, and she was the only child present as far as anybody knew. And this man comes along saying he was there and he was 7 and he was abused by Marcia, which really irked me because to say things about her when she went through so much and oh, I was so angry. And so I defaked screenshot his face to figure out who he was and if I could verify his story. And turns out he had a very extra children are present. So I kind of made it my mission to expose him and expose his lies mostly. And he tried to come back at me and say that he had proof in the rain wrote on that he called them in 1981. That was his proof.
Here we go again. Good Lord.
Dang internet.
Oh, man.
Did I cut out?
I don't know.
Douglas said we mostly got that.
It's an internet connection issue, apparently.
I could try to restart mine if you wanted me to. James. Oh, poor Seg and the spider. That's great. I hope that my internet is not causing her issues.
I'm going to throw this thing right out the window.
So if oh wait, Laura's coming back. Yay.
Yeah. That I could join all you guys. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I apologize. We're going to have to do this all over again where, we're not getting every other word or I keep popping in and out. What a bunch of garbage. So go ahead, finish what you were talking about. I'll just,
No worries. It was just explaining how this man Joe, who called himself Joe King, tried to insert himself into a story that has also that's another thing. I talked to the author who wrote the book on this story, the only book of this story. He had two neighbors tell me that they never heard of this Joe guy, so that did him. The writer had never heard of him. No one knew this guy. He had no proof that he even lived there at the time. He refused to share any proof, and he said his only proof was a piece of paper that Ed and Lorraine wrote on that he called them in 1981. And he's telling me that's his proof, and that should be enough.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know. Let's see. I need to check back in later. I'll rewatch it
Yeah, but he was
all.
a
Oh,
really
okay.
bad criminal. So we shared that, and he's been silent since.
So, yeah, that's well, yeah, it's easier just to be silent than have to actually admit to anything. So we were somewhere outside
Oh
of
yeah, for sure.
Barstow when the drugs took hold. That's what James said.
I love that quote.
Okay, Douglas said the whole point to the tale was the girl's adoptive mother wouldn't let her play with anyone. So how could Joe have been there? Good. Yeah, good question.
Exactly. And there was one child that would come over with her parents. They were friends of the. She said she never heard of a Joe, and she was there several times a week. She said.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, who's handing you the line or not? See, that's what I'm saying. You have to, you have to do so much research just
Tony.
to find out who's telling the truth and who's not.
Yeah.
So it's
And Tony wanted to write a book about him. He was talking all about how he was going to write a book about Joe and his demons.
everybody's got a book out. You gonna write one too? I think we would have a better chance of getting
Yeah,
your book
exactly.
and knowing you got the truth than anything else. Let's see, and Joe was getting brought in by
Yeah, I think that
Nesper.
would be really
Yeah,
fun to put it all in a book, everything I've uncovered.
yeah, you should. Hey, Earl, how's it going? I think that's something you should think about. I mean,
Hi, Earl.
would that be something you would be interested in? Is writing a book and
I
adding
have,
all of this in?
excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I've had a couple people suggest that I should, and I have really been thinking about it. I think it would be really fun.
Yeah, get it all in there and out. I think it would do really well. That's the thing. I think
Yeah,
everybody
I was
has a
thinking of
book
compiling,
inside of
taking
them
all the
that's
episodes and writing them more of a chapter
right.
format and doing it that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Douglas says if you need artwork done, let him know, Stevie. And so Douglas is volunteering his artwork.
Thank you, Douglas.
By the time the show's over, they'll have a book deal all ready to go, guys.
Yeah,
Nothing
for
like
sure.
loading you up. Yeah, not like loading you up with some more work, right? And yeah, we still have that little bit of a lag. Any more questions, guys? Anything you want to know about Stevie and what she's doing? And everybody's being kind of
Oh, I did
quiet.
do a really fun debunk a couple months ago that was, like, super good and solid.
Fill us in.
So Dan again, Dan Rivera from Nesper, he has been the last year or two, has been trying to push this item called the Fire Doll. They were on a morning news show in Connecticut and talked about it, and apparently it's this porcelain doll that was the cause of a fire. Originally, it was a couple that owned the doll, and it caused the fire, and the couple gave the doll to Lorraine. That's what Dan said. And then the story kind of evolved. It became this family, and the fire happened in 19. Well, first of all, the doll was in California, and then in 1969, suddenly the doll is with this family of 13 in West Virginia. And Dan has taken this article of this very, very tragic story of a very real family that burned up in a fire set by one of the children intentionally because her father wouldn't let her date her cousin. So she set them all
Oh
on fire.
my.
And that's a real story.
Nice.
And Dan
Nice
took
kid.
that story and made it the Fire Dolls story and took the article and everything. The author was on the article and
Wow.
everything and plastered it underneath the Fire Dolls case for tours. And someone brought it to my attention that the doll that they're claiming was there wasn't even made until 1998 by a woman named Susan Cray, and she signs and puts the item number on all the dolls' necks, so it would be on the neck of the doll to check for like to debunk it. So the
Right?
doll didn't even exist when this supposedly happened. And then on top of that, I found the author of the article about this tragic story, and I told him, I said, "Hey, this your story with your name on it is being used for this case, and I was just wondering how you feel about that." And he said he wrote me back and told me that people use his work all the time for things that are not true, and he said he had no part in the farce that they created. He called it a farce. So that
Wow.
doll is 100% debunked, not haunted.
Right. Holy crap. I did hear that story. Oh, hey, Emmy, how's it going, sweetie? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you are well. Let's see here. That is terrible. Oh my God. The nice girl. It just sets everybody on fire because she didn't get her way. Earl says Stevie gets to the bottom of these things, the truth.
Yeah, it's such a
She's
tragic
bad.
story,
She's
and she's still
badass.
alive to this day.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh, Kiwi says, I think the internet gremlins are telling you to rest your voice,
Oh,
Laura.
yeah, the
They're
doll
it's that
stand.
the gremlins are telling me something. I don't know. The
Yeah.
gremlins are ticking me off. Okay. James wanted to know if do you have any debunking heroes?
Yeah. I do have a debunking hero, and I would have to say that is the Side-Eye Guy because he's the one who got me into debunking. I never even knew
Aha.
that was a thing, to be honest. And I someone sent me a video that Seg did, and I was completely just loving it because it was this big, good, like a really solid, good debunk on some famous alleged ghost hunters. And I fell in love with debunking after that, and I invited him on my show because I was just so impressed by that work. And then I kind of joined the community a little bit inadvertently.
There you go. Yeah, Seg is great. And I think he kind of fell into it as well. So it's and he's good at it. And he's fair, and that's why we love it. The and debunkers get a lot of shit. They get a lot of bad rap, and I mean it's a hard thing to do, and
Yes, they do.
people. Yeah, people don't like when the truth is thrown in their face, so of course they get attacked for it. Um, blame Stevie for the gremlins bugging you,
Agreed.
Laura. Oh,
Yes.
uh, so apparently, Kiwi thinks that you cursed me with your
And mine
gremlins
are pretty bad.
because
They probably came over
I
to
don't.
you.
Yeah, because I've never had this happen before. This is really weird. Um, let's see. Seg offered to his bum to a sex demon. He is in all the way. Yeah, I know. Really. Oh goodness,
He
sex
did.
demon. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yep. After he learned about this Snedeker case on Sally Jesse Raphael.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Seg, when he gives 100%. So I don't think I would go that far, but hey, if it works for him. Kiwi,
I just
Kiwi
watched a
says
really good
Stevie likes
movie about a
sharing.
demon where the guy invited the demon in. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, they would, no way.
And so
Yeah, the ancient ram in, yeah. No, yeah. Okay, as far as, now we're on that subject, what are your beliefs? Do you believe in demons or do you think it's just angry spirits?
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time? I only got the end of it.
Okay, I was just wondering what your thoughts are. Do you believe in demons or do you think that they're just angry spirits?
That's a good question because I used to believe in demons and I don't think I do anymore. Um, I believe that demons were kind of created to push people to one religion from another. I've seen a lot of evidence of that as far as stories go. I just heard a story about a public exorcism that took place, I think, in the 1600s. I could be wrong. I'll have to check on that. I wanted to talk about it, to do a little deep dive on it, because it was one of the cases where the possessed person was a girl and she actually spoke in the demon's voice, quote unquote, that the reason the demon possessed her was because people turned to Protestant to being Protestant, and he was trying to turn them back. And there is a lot of history, a lot of talk in history where they used scare tactics like demons to keep people in certain religions. So that's kind of why I don't believe in them anymore. But I do believe that there are bad, or I guess evil, paranormal happenings. I'm not sure what they are. I hate when everybody labels things and says, "Oh, it's this for sure." And none of us know any of that. So I
Exactly.
just don't think I believe it's anything ever used as propaganda.
Right. You're exactly right. We really don't know. What do you believe that we become after we pass on from the physical body?
I want to believe in reincarnation. I don't think I don't know if there is a place we go to that's, they tell us about. I think it's like I believe in energy, and I believe that whole thing in energy can be neither created nor destroyed. It's just transferred. So I want to believe that when we pass, our energy, our spirit, or whatever it is, goes on to the next thing, whatever that may be. So that's what I like to think. I honestly can't subscribe to any one thing because I don't have enough information to. So I hate to blindly believe in any one thing just, wholeheartedly.
Right. Right. That's great. Kiwi says on here, if a person is evil in life, and then she said will, I think she cut it short. I think what she wants to know is if you're evil in life, do you believe that you will be evil in the afterlife?
I used to think that too. And then I recently started studying reincarnation a little bit via past life regression studies. And I don't necessarily believe all of those things either, but some of the studies kind of say that when we do pass, evil disappears and we're just kind of neutral. And we actually can reflect on anything we may have done that was bad. and given the opportunity to change and grow. So that's according to past life regressionists. And I kind of want to believe that that's true. So I think that's interesting. I don't know how evil works. I don't know if it's a a conscious thing that we can choose or if it's just inherent in us. I don't know. It's very mysterious.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, there's always more questions than answers. Let's see. Reincarnation is an interesting study. Been down that rabbit hole before. Yeah, there's a lot of people that believe in reincarnation. Um, let's see. James says that human evil makes
Yeah,
demonic evil look like child's play. I don't know, but I've heard some pretty bad stories about
agreed.
supposed.
I
Yeah, that's
completely agree. Mhm.
now as far as saying that
And if
you
you
do
believe in
believe,
demons, you would say demons were the cause of that.
yeah, yeah. If you do believe in us, that we're energy and that we are transitioning to either a higher form of life or whatever, do you believe that we have the choice to stay here? Is that the reason for paranormal activity? Or do you believe it could be a penance that people have to pay for things during their life? I mean, what are your opinions on that?
I like to think so because I would like to have that choice. I would like to be a ghost for a little while and haunt some people. I think that would be fun. But then I
Yeah,
wonder if once we do pass it, because like the studies you read and the things people try and say it's this, that, or the other, and it's just it's so much information. It's so confusing. And I want to believe that we do have that conscious choice when we do pass to decide where we go from there. So I want to believe that. I like that question with the evil came first, demons or the humans.
chicken it
According
right.
to a lot of studies, demons came first.
So yeah, hey, again, who knows? I think that's what we're all in this for. Um, let's see. Carla says, I think energy can become attached to a place. That's good. Do you being attached to? I think yeah. If you're thinking, if you
Yeah,
believe in attachments, and you believe that somebody is attached to something out of love for that place, or or any other reason, that could be the reason of the attachment. What do you think about residual hauntings?
mhm. I love the idea of residual hauntings because that suggests that there is a scar, it's either a scar in our atmosphere or whatever that is able to replay that, or I also think it could be the whole idea of intersecting timelines or parallel universe kind of situation because science is leaning towards like I think it's even been because I always wonder if we are intersecting with another timeline or if there is a scar in our timeline. I find those so intriguing.
Right. Well, kind of like everybody is putting on the theory. Maybe it's portals that are opening, and then it could be yeah. You're looking into yeah
Yeah, I've
again
heard that too, and I
another
really like that one too.
right. So and that's how that this could be happening. The transference through portals, um,
Mhm,
and again maybe a parallel universe, and then that's just the way. That's why that
mhm.
I mean the theory is that's why they can only communicate at certain times. Because every time you go to a location, you're not always going to pick up any kind of data of any kind of haunting or existence of spirit activity. So I think
Right.
that's where that comes into play with the portals and the the dimensional shift or whatever that they want to refer to as.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, James depends on the culture too. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Douglas says residual. We all had a thing where we go into a room after an argument has happened and we feel icky. So activity being baked in is very possible. Um, yes,
Yeah.
it's yeah. So yeah, it's because I do believe yes that a place does absorb that energy. Whatever has happened or whoever's lived there or whatever's done in that spot, it does absorb that energy. Um, because it's proven by people. Because I had a friend that used
Yeah.
to collect bricks from old
And it's
buildings.
also been proven.
That the bricks do absorb things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've heard
why
of that.
wouldn't yeah the whole building wouldn't absorb as well? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I recently saw a thing on YouTube where water can hold memory, and they proved that because I just saw the comment about gemstones recording things. Like, yeah, rocks can record stuff. There's been scientific experiments where they prove that water has memory of things and can like absorb information.
Sorry, just dry throat, guys. Excuse me. Um, let's see what Emmy says. A lot of our gemstones have what called a recorder, and with many of those recorders, it tells what's happening in the past. And I believe residual hauntings are the same way. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thought this stuff was over with. Um,
I can agree with that.
trying to,
Yeah, that's a very cool idea.
well, we've heard that from a lot of people that, like you said, the stone theory, where limestone will hold certain things. And then there are other people on the other side of the spectrum says, no
Mhm.
way, it's not going to happen. Um, Same thing with water. A lot of people do think that water does carry
Yeah.
that energy and the memory, but and then there's others say no, it's proven that it's not. So that's the thing. What do you believe?
Mhm.
Where do you stand on it? Unless you can do that testing yourself, how the hell are we going to know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
So if you
see.
want to do the water test yourself, I saw a video where this guy did it where he took a leaf and he dipped it in water and then he pulled it out and then he put that water in the freezer and he did it with different leaves, different plant life. And when he pulled each of the jars out of the freezer after they'd frozen, they froze into the design of the leaf. Now, I don't know if that's true because I've not done it myself, but he did say in the video you could experiment and try it yourself. So I've been wanting to try that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Let's see. Limestone and water works great together. Yeah, it's. I've always heard that from a lot of old buildings. Most of them had limestone foundations. Limestone does absorb. So, I mean, if it absorbs elements
Mhm.
from around it, why wouldn't it absorb energy that is also, within the home itself? It's really strange. Let's see. Douglas says, if demons are
Yeah.
really a thing, I think they are a lot more rare than people seem to think. A lot of work, a lot of what's seen as demonic activity could just be us doing it to ourselves. Minds are powerful. Yes, that's true too. That is true too.
I can agree with that.
Um, Here we go. Friday. Friday. We use the term energy a good deal, but I feel it is being used far too broadly. In the reality, matter has energy, and energy is a property of things. But E equals MC2 says matter can become energy. Yes, I think it's just that's how. Hi, Wayne. Hi, honey. I think that's Friday, and I agree with Friday. Friday's our scientific guy. He's our electronics guy, but I think that's just how we refer to it because that's how we know to refer to it. Um, because everybody goes, well,
Yeah,
with
I
spirit,
agree.
how do you know it's this or that?
Yeah.
That's just how we refer to it because we don't know what else to call it. So that's just the easiest reference that people use. Um,
Yeah.
Douglas says, an old
Yeah, a lot
friend
of
of
terms
mine.
get thrown around when we don't really know for sure if they're the right terms.
Sure. So you're going to use what you're familiar with, and that's just pretty much like a safety net. Um, let's
Right.
see.
Yeah.
Douglas says an old friend of mine said if you're
Yeah.
being attacked by something spiritually, take a long shower. The water should disrupt it. Oh, that I've never heard of. Taking a long shower to
A lot of
disrupt. Okay.
spiritualists say water is cleansing and you can use water to wash away a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I've heard, using, putting like sea salt and stuff in the water, and take a bath. And it's
Yeah.
kind of a cleansing. Yeah. But just plain water. I've never heard anybody just doing that. Sir Wayne says, I believe there is proof that Egyptians could create recordings of sound from rocks. Not sure how true that is. Friday, what do you think?
I feel like I've heard that too. I
Yes.
think I've heard that somewhere, but I don't know if it was true or not.
Also, that's I believe that's they were throwing the theory around. That's how the pyramids were built, was with sound. They used sound and vibration to move those giant pieces of rock. I've seen them
Yeah,
do a
I've heard that
demonstration.
theory.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. A guy did
I
a
love all
demonstration
the
of it.
theories of how the pyramids were built.
Yeah, and now they're
Oh,
saying, which
cool.
they're saying that there's stuff underneath the pyramids. It's like
Yeah.
giant
I think
pillars,
we've
and
been
they were
thinking
pretty
that
much.
a while as
Oh,
people.
oh yeah. You had to think that it's the desert. God knows what's underneath all that sand. I highly doubt they made just a bunch
Right.
of pointy
The same
cones
thing with the
and stuck
Easter
them on
Island
top.
heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. They're oh, you never know what's underneath the sand. Mark said, in humans, memory is not stored anywhere within
Right.
us, the brain only processes and reconstructs it. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake, I believe is that how this said, states that memory is morphic responses which we tap into. Um, but also, we don't know what the brain can do
That's really
completely.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still don't know what the human brain is capable of.
Yeah.
And you think that they would do more studies on that than the crap that they do studies on? I mean, it's let's find out what's going on in there. Hey, Big Stu, what's going on? Let's see. Friday said that he
Yeah.
would have to read up on that. Anything recorded is known as information, and it depends on how that information is stored and recalled. Yep. Methylated
It's
Epsom
very
salts
interesting.
and water.
I
Yeah,
think it's
see,
interesting
everybody.
how smell can trigger memories.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Big time. It's funny because yeah, you could be cooking something or somebody could be cooking something, and that'll bring you all the way back to your childhood because you'll remember, like, oh, how your grandmother used to make that, or,
Oh, yeah.
just,
And bring up
yeah.
memories
So
you didn't know
it's
you had.
right, right. Like, I smell a certain smell. My grandfather used to smoke a pipe, and when I smell this certain, it's like a cherry. It was like black cherry or something, the tobacco, and I forget that smell. Then yeah, it's that pops right into my head of him and his pipe. So it's funny how that does trigger everything. Let's see. Friday says research today is mostly sifting out the BS from the internet. Yeah, that's the problem. You can't believe everything that's on the internet because
Yes.
most of it is
Agreed.
BS. So you gotta do a lot of old school. You gotta dig up the books and let's see what the and
Mhm.
Wayne's being funny. James says sandalwood reminds me of living in Borneo
I
as
see
a
that.
kid. Okay, he's I know. Music,
Oh,
yes,
very
Stu, you're
cool.
right. Yes, music does that as well.
Mhm.
It can make you, remember. Actually, it's funny because most of my mother is suffering from advanced stages of dementia. So most of the day, she says like five things, and it's the same thing repeated, like a broken record. But if you say a certain thing or a certain musical play, and you can see the light turn on, and then she does something different from her usual routine.
Yeah.
Um, so it's amazing that, even though that her brain is such in a deteriorated state, just that one little thing might trigger a memory that we thought she lost. And yeah, it's usually music. Let's see.
Yeah.
Douglas says, I'm trying to find the lawyer or the author. Lawyer, what the hell am I thinking? I try I try to find the author, but can't at the moment. There is a brain expert who has had an infection in his brain, was brain dead and near death experience, and came back. Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
That's
Uh,
interesting. Yeah. I've not heard of that.
Doug, yeah, Douglas said different parts of the brain started working and going around the damaged areas. Uh, yeah, it's well as far yeah maybe with that fellow. Dementia's a terrible thing. I don't wouldn't wish it on anybody, guys. It's a struggle that we're dealing with. They call it
Yeah.
the slow death for a reason, because that's what it is. She's dying right before our eyes, and it's hard to see your loved one in that condition when all you can do
Yeah.
is wish is you could have that person back the way they were. So I look at it this way: my mother's already gone, and I'm just taking care of an infant because that's pretty much what she is. Um, because her
Yeah.
personality, all of it's all gone.
Yeah.
So it's
That's always intrigued me how that works, and it's such a tough thing to deal with. I've seen a few friends and family deal with that, and it's really interesting as far as the brain goes.
right, right. Because well, the thing that'll kill you is like she won't remember, that she's got to brush her teeth or take a shower or whatever. But I was sitting down with her one day just for the hell of it, and I said, "Well, let me figure this out." I wanted her to sign her name, and she actually signed it and spelled it right.
Hmm,
So basic things, she pretty much doesn't remember anything because I tease her all the time, but that she remembered. So it's odd on what, and
interesting.
I don't know what part of the brain is that is in, where you remember how to sign or spell or um but everything else is pretty much gone except for certain things, and she still remembered how to do her signature. Um so it's just it's an odd disease, it's a terrible
That's wild,
disease,
yeah.
and yeah, don't wish it on anybody because it's very hard. Uh And Douglas said, dementia is horrid to
Yeah.
deal with. My grandpa had it and kept seeing ghosts in his kitchen table. We figured out that it was just really old memories. Yeah. See, and my mother's progressed so quickly that she went from being good to like a 3-year-old. She just, the hardest part was when they forget who you are. Um, she looks at you, you can see she's trying to figure it out. But you'll say, well, gee, who am I? And she has no idea. Has no idea. All she knows is I'm the one that goes downstairs and annoys her because I make her do stuff. She gets mad because well, you got to take a bath. No, no. And I'll always tease her and I'll say, hey, come on, it's time for you to get a job. No, later. And she takes off running. I said, yeah, so she ain't too bad off.
Oh,
She
I
she
love it.
knows that she don't want to work. So yeah, it's something. I think that's in the motor function. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Big Stu said after my mother's stroke, she couldn't tell you what she had for lunch yesterday, but could tell you about a third cousin twice removed. I know. Isn't it amazing how people do
Yeah.
that? I know. What is it? When you get older, you forget like you said, what you had for lunch the day before, but they could tell you what happened in 1952 at a certain place and what they wore and what they ate and how much the bill was. It's amazing how the brain works. It really is.
Yeah. It
So,
really
yeah,
is.
he said yeah. things that happened 40 years ago, and in exact detail. It just blows my mind. It does. Wayne says, I don't have a good memory myself, but my mind does memorize
Same.
bad negative thoughts more than good memories. Probably why so many suffer from mental health problems. Yeah, it's, oh, who knows what triggers what. They don't even know what causes dementia. So, and she's on
Yeah.
medication. It's supposed to help curb it, slow it down, and it does nothing. It does nothing. We give it to her, it does nothing. She's the same. So
Wow.
I think it's just a line of shit, is what I think. So it's day by day, and you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to bring everybody down. It was just an example about how brain function
Yep.
is. So, any more questions for the lovely Stevie?
No, totally understand.
So, do you plan on doing any future investigations?
Yes, as soon as it warms up, because I don't like going out in the cold. I'm such a baby. I don't like to be cold. It hurts. So as soon as it warms
I don't
up
blame you.
enough, I would love to start doing some more local investigations. I've reached out to a few people, and I'm gonna plan some stuff, and I hope to record and film and put it up for everyone to see so they can join me.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like the cold either. As soon as everything gets warm and dry here, then I plan on going out and doing some myself. But right now, everything's cold, wet, and I do mostly outdoor stuff. So yeah,
Yes.
I don't want to, step into something and be up to my neck in mud. So we'll just wait till it dries out. It's just the safest route.
Yeah.
Is there any place that you've wanted to investigate? Say,
For
on your
sure.
bucket list, where would you like to go?
Mhm. Yes, I have a lot, but a couple of the main ones are I would really like to go to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium because it's so close to me and I've never been and I've heard good stories about getting activity and seeing things and hearing things. And then I would really like to do some places overseas. Lep Castle in Ireland is supposed to be a really good one. I would love to go. And there's one in England. I'm blanking on the name now, but there's like I think there's a supposedly a priest ghost and a little girl ghost, and I would really like to go, the Borley Rectory maybe? Is that the right one? My memory is terrible, but I think it's that one. But yeah, there's so many places, and I definitely wanna try Waverly Hills soon since I'm so close.
Nice, nice. Actually, you mentioned Let Castle. The end of the month, I am going to be interviewing a woman who goes there all the time, and they just did another live investigation there. So you guys have to tune in and see what she's got to say. So it's
Oh,
Jen
that's
from Emerald
exciting, I can't wait.
Isles. Yeah, Jen from Emerald Isles Paranormal. She's joining me I think it's the 26th, I believe. And she's going to fill us in on
Very cool.
how the investigation went. So I can't wait. Douglas said, Stevie, are there folks in
Yay!
the paranormal community that you would like to meet still, or even ones who have passed on?
That's a good question. Currently I can't think of anyone because so far I've just uncovered some people I wouldn't want to meet. But past, I would love to meet and interview the Fox sisters. I was thinking about that today, and I think that would be really cool to interview them about how that all went down.
Nice, nice. Wayne wants to know, how do you manage to do what you do regarding your bad experiences? You're a good example of how to bounce back. Hope that makes sense.
No, it does. Yes. Just decompress. I do a lot of decompressing. If I have a bad experience or a lot of stress, I just take a couple days off and I don't pick up my phone. I don't look at any social media. I just take a break from interacting with anything that may have been stressful and maybe watch a movie or deep dive a subject I've been wanting to. Like, distraction is a really good way to get past things that are stressful for me.
Yeah, it's definitely good to step away. You've gotta do that every now and then. Otherwise, you go through burnout, and then it's just too much. It's too much. Hey, Bill. Bill,
Yes.
how's it going? Let's see. Mark says that Borley
Mhm.
Rectory has been demolished, if that's what you're thinking of.
I did not know
Uh,
that. That's really sad. I've heard of a couple places have been demolished recently, but yeah, that's really sad. I'm not sure if that's the one I was thinking of, but if it was, that makes me sad.
all right. Yeah, he said that the Borley Rectory was one of Harry Price's main investigations. So that might be what you're
Yeah, Harry
thinking
Price
of.
is cool too.
So
Yeah, I
there you
think it
go.
might
I
be.
know it.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad that they do that? Well, even if you could still just go back to where it was,
Yes.
you never know. There still be might something
Yeah, that's
lingering
true too.
there.
I wonder if you can or if they built something there. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, all the sightings for the Jack the Ripper cases, those are all like apartments and businesses now, and people still tour the locations. I took that tour.
Right.
It was really fun.
So hey, you never know. You never know what you're gonna pick up. They say make sure you hit the like button as if you took the last piece of pizza. Thanks, Friday. uh, and Kiwi said to make sure that Stevie takes her internet gremlins back. I know. Shh, quiet, quiet. It's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I shared them.
It's been good. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's see. Purple says I've been to Borley. There's nothing there, and the people that live there are quite hostile. Oh, so stay away from there.
Interesting. They probably don't like so many people coming.
Probably. Yeah, a bunch of weirdos wandering around with cameras. Let's see.
Yeah.
Douglas says,
Mhm.
well, every pub in England is haunted, so that might be places to check out. I know that's to be honest, that's the truth. You can throw a stone in the UK and the place would be haunted
I
wherever
did
it
go to
goes.
an alleged haunted pub in England, in New York.
Nice. Did you manage to check it out?
I went to
And
the Golden Fleece. Yes, we went in and we stayed hours. We ended up chatting with a couple people for hours and hours. It was me and my tattoo artist while we were on tour, and nothing happened. Just a lot of conversation, a lot of drunk conversation. Not us. We were completely sober, but everyone we talked to just talked our ears off.
they were all loaded and ready to go. That's funny. Big Stu said, "Oh, the Tower
But
of London too."
I didn't get to go there, but yes, I love the stories there.
Yeah, Wayne says, "Yeah, the Golden Fleece is well known for being haunted."
hmm Yeah, we were kind of bummed we didn't get any activity. We were really hoping because it's talked about so much.
See, that's the thing, you get all of these, great stories and all this hype, and when you finally get a chance to go there and nothing happens, there can't be anything more disappointing than that. But
Yep.
para- that's we should know.
Right?
Paranormal doesn't happen when you want it to. If you're lucky enough to catch it, that's
Oh,
just how it
never. Yeah.
goes. Yeah.
Or we'd have
Uh,
more evidence.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. That's why you got to go back more than once. But unfortunately, if you don't live in the UK, it gets a little expensive. So it's yeah, you always got to go back.
Yes.
You keep going back and just keep collecting that data. Let's see. Mark said that the Borley is quite close to. I'm probably going to butcher this. Rendlesham, where the infamous UFO sighting by the U.S. Air Base was. And I totally probably butchered that name. I'm sorry.
I've not heard of that. Now I wanna
And
look
then,
into that.
yeah, you're going to have to write that one down and check it out. Wayne says, I know a few pubs where I live that are supposedly haunted. Well, you need to go check those out there, Wayne, and let us know.
Oh, cool.
Go do some
Yeah, report
videotape.
back.
Get in there with that camera and check stuff out.
Yes.
You could go incognito, go dressed as Crystal. Nobody, nobody will know it. Oh my goodness. A solid UFO story to look up. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's gonna have to look that one
Mhm.
up. Rendlesham's Forest. Did I say it better that time, guys? Rendlesham.
I mean, that's how I
Okay,
would say it.
Rendleshams is how to pronounce it. I think I got it. If not, I'm so sorry. Purple says Mark Vorley's is Essex, Rendlesham is Suffolk. Not sure if they'd be considered close. Oh, okay. Oh, Wayne said I said it better. Yay, I said it better. Okay. I usually try to break down a word so I can pronounce it correctly. Sometimes I'm good, other times, it's, it's a hit or
Same.
miss.
Yes.
So yeah, you gotta do the best you can. Just kind of break it down into sections and then just read it off. It's the best
Yes.
that we can do. Very, very good. Okay, so does anybody have any more questions before we let the lovely Stevie go on her way? I'm sure she's got a bunch of stuff to do. Probably work tomorrow as well, right? Most everybody's got to go to work. So
Yes.
it's either work, on
Yep.
internet or just regular work.
The
So
dreaded day
it's
job.
the day job. Yeah, it gets in the way of everything. So
It
Stevie,
does.
I apologize for the internet crap. It's the first time it's ever done that to me, and I apologize for it. We're gonna have to have you on again when it's not all screwed
No
up.
worries at all. It's probably me.
Um, let's see. Oh, Friday wants to know when is your
Yes,
next
definitely. I would love to.
podcast? When is your next podcast? They want to know.
It'll be the next main one will be the Smurl case. I'm sorry, my voice is trying to
Okay.
leave me.
Sure. Yeah, see, we're all having the same problems.
It will be the Smurl case, and then I will have some little minis in the interim before that one comes out.
Okay, fabulous. Just let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on everything, every platform. Just search Truth or Demons podcast. I'm on everything. I'm most active on Instagram.
There you go, guys. Go check it all out. Now remember to like,
And
share,
thank you.
subscribe.
Sorry, my voice is trying to go away.
Yes, we were all shot. Time to go. Our voices are checking out before we are. So yeah, just let you slide over and hit that
Yeah.
like button. Share it all out to your friends. Let Stevie be known. And if you don't know, guys, go check her out. She's got a great program. We look forward to all the new stuff you got coming out. And like I said, we'll
And
have you
thank
on again, and hopefully
you very,
the
very much.
gremlins stay home. We won't have to worry about them. And thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate your questions and for you hanging out with us all this time, even during the difficult internet issue. Everybody have a great night, and always remember to live life a little on the raw side. Have a great night, everybody.